Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we are digging into a massive puzzle in the tech world. We keep hearing that AI is the next industrial revolution, right? So, where are all the revolutionary results? Okay, let's jump right into the heart of the problem. You can see it right here. Investment in AI, the excitement, the hype, it's completely off the charts. But when you look at how much businesses are actually changing their fundamental operations because of it, well, that's lagging way, way behind. And that disconnect is exactly what we need to talk about. And this all boils down to the one critical question that leaders and teams all over the world are asking themselves. We've all seen the demos, we've heard the promises, but the day-to-day reality just doesn't seem to match up. So, what is going on here? Well, get this. The numbers are actually kind of shocking. Some pretty solid research shows that only about 2%, just 2%, of all AI projects end up creating real, meaningful, game-changing transformation inside a company. You know, there's actually a name for this huge gap between the promise and the reality. It's called the generative AI paradox. So let's unpack why this is happening, because it's not what you might think. So, what is really holding everything back? Here's the twist. It's not the technology. The AI models themselves are incredibly powerful. They're ready to go. The real issue, well, it's a lot more human. And research from Gartner just lays it out perfectly. The AI technology, it's about 50% ready for everyone to start using it at scale. But then look at the human readiness. Our skills, our organizational structures, our trust in the system, that's only at 25%. And that gap is the chasm we have to cross.
And this readiness gap really breaks down into four big roadblocks. For starters, you've got the skills gap. Companies just don't have enough people who truly know how to use these tools to their full potential. Then there's the huge issue of security and compliance, especially for industries like banking or healthcare that can't just send sensitive data out to a third-party service. On top of that, you have leadership inertia. Change is hard, and sometimes the people at the top are just slow to act. And finally, building your own private AI system in-house, that can be incredibly expensive. And that leadership problem is a really big deal. This statistic says everything. The vast majority of people are excited to use AI, but they have almost no confidence that their own bosses know how to manage that change. And that points to the real core of the issue. We've been thinking about this whole thing the wrong way. Right now, most companies are just splashing on a layer of what you could call superficial AI. It's really just like putting a new coat of paint on a really old, crumbling building. Sure, it looks a little better on the surface, but it does absolutely nothing to fix the broken foundation. The real revolution happens when you rebuild that foundation with AI at the absolute core of how you work. And this idea, rebuilding the foundation from the ground up, it leads us to a completely new and honestly revolutionary concept that just might solve this paradox. And it's called the Agentic Organization. Now, this is not just another fancy corporate buzzword, I promise. It represents a fundamental shift in how we think about work. It's a future where humans and these autonomous AI agents aren't just a user and a tool. No, they're actual teammates collaborating side by side to get things done. Okay, so you're probably asking, what makes these AI teammates any different from the chatbots we're all playing around with today? Let's take a look at the blueprint for this totally new kind of team. The difference is night and day. A chatbot, on one hand, is purely reactive. You ask it a question, it gives you an answer, and then it basically forgets the conversation ever happened. An agent, on the other hand, is proactive. It understands your larger goal, it remembers the context of your work, it creates a plan, and then it goes out and executes tasks across different apps and systems to make it happen, all on its own. And to get thousands of these agents and people all working together, you need a brand new kind of digital infrastructure. It's called an agentic AI mesh. The best way to think about it is like a digital nervous system for the entire company. It's a secure network that connects every single human and every single AI agent, letting them all talk, share data, and work together like one single intelligent organism. So, this is the big question, right? If we have these incredibly capable, proactive agents doing more and more of the actual work, what does that mean for us humans? This is probably the most important piece of the entire puzzle. For the past decade or so, we've all been talking about the importance of having T-shaped skills. That means you have deep expertise in one single area, and then a broad, general knowledge about a lot of other things. Well, in this new agentic era, that's just not going to cut it anymore. We're going to have to develop what are being called M-shaped skills. This means having deep expertise in multiple domains. So for instance, a marketing expert might also need deep expertise in data science and in prompt engineering so that they can effectively manage and direct their team of specialized AI agents.
This move to M-shaped skills completely changes the nature of our jobs. Our focus is no longer on doing the repetitive, manual tasks. We'll have agents for that. Instead, our value comes from our creativity, our strategic thinking, our ability to supervise. Basically, we stop being operators of machines and we become the orchestrators of intelligence. So this entire journey, from the paradox we started with all the way to this new agentic organization, it all leaves us with one really profound final question to carry with us. Seriously, think about that. How we choose to answer that question is going to define the future of work, the future of leadership, and maybe even our relationship with technology itself. It's a pretty wild thought. Thanks so much for digging into this with me today.